We try to use a lot of spirituality to get us out of crap that we've gotten ourselves into, for getting us out of the quicksand that is the result of our irresponsible actions or our lack of foresight. One of the best things you can do is project forward or bounce yourself forward. Bounce yourself forward a week, bounce yourself forward a year, bounce yourself backwards months, years, and you get a good indication. You could be a good fortune reader without needing to be psychic. Your actions, your day-to-day actions, really will predict what your future is going to be like. Your past actions are the best. Studying your past history is such a good indicator of what your future is going to be like. And the problem is that we don't learn from those, and we live unexamined lives. One of the most beneficial things in if you want to have inner peace or a sense of contentment is diligent self-examination. Writing it out, and just or reviewing your day, at the end of the night before you go to sleep, and looking at the things that went right, things you can learn from, things that went wrong, and having a growth process. The ego wants to protect us, so it masks a lot of our faults and our weaknesses, and it covers it up. And what we end up creating is these constant, like the scratch in the old vinyl records, and the music just keeps on repeating the same music. And what most of us, our problems are generated because we run our lives in the red zone. In the red zone, if we're aware, if we're present, we can see the danger signals. In relationships, you call them red flags. And I know in my history, in dating, what has caused me immense pain and suffering is ignoring the red flags. So I look for the short-term gain of whether it's the physical attraction, the physical chemistry, the emotional connection, or the fact that, oh boy, so I feel loved, I feel special, I'm in a romantic relationship, and I have short-term vision. And it's like a car running in the red zone. You're going really fast. It's a high, it's a rush, but eventually your car is going to overheat and end up on the side of the road calling AAA. So if we examine the red zone and kind of like pulling weeds and start pulling the weeds, all the areas in our life, and an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of medicine. And we don't practice that. We are so into the immediate gratification without looking at the long-term consequences. So I really like the motto of bouncing yourself forward a year. What's this, if I continue along this pattern, what is going to happen? What's going to be the end result? Well, I'm not managing my money properly. I mean, so many of these problems can be completely avoided. The whole recession and the crash and burn of the whole banking industry could have been predicted. There were people predicting it years before it happened. The quick, easy money was too much of a drug, too much of a high in the immediate moment, the instant gratification that we never even considered. We were so high and intoxicated on this fast, easy money that we didn't even look at the long-term consequences. Now we're paying the price. But if we were to analyze and say, hey, are we the government? Is it running in the red zone? The banking industry, is it running in the red zone? Yes, it's running in the red zone. But that's a side note. Forget about that. Self-examination is the direction where this video is going. Examining yourself, looking at your previous relationships that have crashed and burned. Are you repeating those same patterns in your current relationships? Are there red flags in your life that you're ignoring? This is having a balanced approach and looking at all areas of your life. Taking finances. Do you have a cushion in which you can absorb a shock, whether it's getting terminated from a job, a cut in salary, unintended expense, and examining it might seem tedious, but examining every cent where it goes. And you'll see huge gaps, huge leaks in the dam, cracks in the dam of where your money goes. And this is, okay, I didn't realize that. I'm going to now pull it back and come back to the green zone where I'm not burning on all pistons. Other areas, health. It's amazing. I was watching Grey's Anatomy, and one of the episodes, one of the doctor's father is dying, and he says, I've eaten like crap. I didn't exercise, and now I'm paying the price. And you could see, at least he was aware at the end of his life. Some people don't even come to that awareness at the end of their lives or when they're crashing and burning. But taking some self-examination, bouncing himself 10 years, 15, 20 years forward and saying, boy, what is this going to be the place where I want to be? Is it worth having all these empty calories, eating all this junk food, not exercising, not feeling good about myself? Is that immediate instant gratification, running my life in the red zone, going to be worth the long-term cost of ending my life 10, 15, 20 years early? And that type of self-examination, we need to stop living in denial with ourselves. Other areas we run in the red zone, exercise is a great example of another area. It's the instant gratification. It's easier not to exercise, but it's amazing once you practice consistent self-disciplined exercise, even if it's 20, 15 minutes a day, how much better you feel about yourself. So the instant gratification is there. It just comes after you put in a little effort. Other areas, I'm sure in the comments you could list a whole plethora of areas that we run in the red zone. But finances, relationships, health issues are another one. Retirement would be another one. I think taking on too much responsibility is another huge one that we run ourselves in the red zone. So a lot of us look at, I want children, and the instant gratification we feel we'll get and we'll complete ourselves and make our lives more fuller and richer. Once we have children, we don't bounce ourselves forward and look at the tremendous sacrifice that is involved, or look at history, or look at other people who have children and the problems and sufferings that they endure. Not that it's good or bad, but just really some self-examination is definitely in order. Or look at how much time we spent in the red zone, in instant gratification, in things that don't bear fruit, watching television, spending time on the internet. There's so many gaps in our life where we just lose huge chunks of our life. And if we were to bounce ourselves forward 10, 15, 20 years from now on our deathbeds, whenever that might be, and we look back and reflect upon our lives, will we regret, boy, I wish I would have spent more time at work. Boy, I wish I would have spent more time watching TV. Not that watching TV is bad. I'm just saying, again, all things have moderation and balance. So, one of the best or most effective ways to monitor this is to keep a journal, to keep a diary, or if that's not good, just to write some areas, some trouble areas, in doing some self-examination where you are running yourself in the red zone. And most all of the problems that we have is due to a lack of discipline, a lack of consciousness, a lack of awareness, that if we practice some self-examination in the present moment, we will avoid so much heartache, hardship, suffering, and we'll have that sense of inner peace. It's amazing how many people, when I talk to them, and we're able to kind of, with life coaching, kind of put a magnifying glass upon their lives and examine and start plucking out the weeds, the things that are causing them to suffer. It's amazing how so much of our suffering is just predictable. It's completely and totally predictable, and sometimes it's our blind spots which trip us up, and we end up being our own worst enemy. But self-examination and monitoring the red zone alleviates all that. Thanks for listening.